So after watching this particular video, you will not be having any issues giving any of the SQL interviews, because we will be talking from very basics to the intermediate level for 3 years, 4 years of experience or 5 years experience, starting from a very fresher level. And there are particular questions that we'll be discussing, and as per the practical things that will be asked in the interviews, on the basis of that, on the reference of that, we'll be talking of all the things. ठीक है, तो सारी चीज़ें आपको in detail everything I'll be showing you, and with a proper example explaining you with a pen tablet, so that will be very insightful for you also, and I'll try to make it very easy for you to understand all the topics. So let's start. Let's go to the screen and let's start. So उससे पहले like comment जरूर कर देना भाई, and just demand whatever kind of videos do you want, just demand it. I have been posting many videos related to data engineering, related to data domain, so definitely you can demand more videos like this. So let's start. As you can see on the screen here, so basically we are loading this the presentations. The very first thing that is here, as you can see, सबसे पहले चीज that is preparing for a SQL interview. So basically we are taking a reference of a MySQL, this one, that is MySQL interview, and like it applies, the same things will be applied to all the types of the SQL interview, because majorly the questions are asked always for the SQL interviews. Okay, so basically these kind of questions will be asked. So majorly the question that are asked are related to all the SQL सबसे ज़्यादा important होता है, and whenever you are going for any of the data interviews. So this is the first topic that I have picked up. So we'll be talking on the reference of MySQL that we'll be referring to. So let's start. The very first thing that is here, the first one, that is MySQL. What is MySQL? Preparing for the MySQL interviews, and we'll be talking about key concepts. What are the key concepts we'll be talking about? We'll be talking about the practical questions, we'll be talking about the interview tips. So all the things will be clubbed up into the one. So basically we'll be talking about those things. So let's start. The very first thing, that is, what is MySQL? Now MySQL, what it is, the very first thing, the types of things, the main things. Whenever a question comes in front of you that is a fresher level question, that is what is MySQL. So basically what you can reply. MySQL is an open source relational database, DBMS. It is an RDBMS, that is relational database management system, basically, that is used to store the data. Like it is an open source firstly, and relational database management system. And first thing first, that is, if you want to install MySQL on your systems, you can install MySQL Workbench, so that you can practice all the types of SQL questions, and you can load your data, you can make your databases, you can practice all types of questions. Definitely just install MySQL Workbench. If you want a video on that, definitely comment down. I'll make a full video that how I do all my practices and all on my local systems. Okay, and other than that, you can also use different kind of online platforms. So basically it is based on SQL, and it is an RDBMS, a relational database management system. That is, if there is a row in a table and a column in a table, a row and columns are related. Basically like this, a kind of a table will be there, and in this only all the types of data and things will be there. So basically this is called of like relational database system. All the things, all the data is related to each other. That is the example of it. Next thing, it is widely used. Firstly, it is very much widely used, and for a web application, it is one of the, you can say, or I can say that it is one of the most majorly or widely used kind of a RDBMS that is used. And for data management, for analytics also we use this. So basically this is a very wide used software. So no, like you can just learn this easily. And the very first thing, that is, start with the SQL versus MySQL. like बहुत सारे लोगों को ऐसे doubts होते हैं, that is what is SQL, what is MySQL. इसमें क्यों doubts हो रहे हैं? Basically the very first thing, SQL is a concept. That is, now this is a concept. SQL is a concept. MySQL is a software or a open source RDBMS, relational database system, that uses the concepts of SQL and applies to its software. Like it is a front end. अब अपन एक UI के through interact करते हैं with SQL. So basically MySQL is a software, and SQL is a proper language or a querying language that we are using. So basically it can be assumed as that. So basically let's see what is the MySQL. SQL is a language, while MySQL is a software that uses SQL. First one. Then in difference in the uses and the capabilities, it is different, like in usage and capabilities also. Next thing, when you use MySQL versus other DBMS, like you can use MySQL, you can use Oracle, you can use Teradata. There are different kind of RDBMS. Like RDBMS is there, a DBMS is there, DBMS, a data warehouse is there. warehouse. Okay, so there are very big differences or very slight differences and the basics of it, like how it is used, what is the usage of it. So basically there are different kind of storage systems, like where the data is stored in RDBMS, in relation database system, in database management system, where we are storing in a data warehouse we can store as data. So it depends on the usage, like as per the requirements or as per the things. Okay, so basically the first thing, that is key SQL concepts. So these kind of questions can be asked, that is key SQL concept, what is a database and a table, understand the schema, rows, columns. These are very basic concepts of SQL that we are going through. So basically the first thing first, that is database and the tables. Next thing that is we are going to see, that is the keys. There are different kind of keys: primary key, foreign key, unique key. These are the three major keys. And interviews, whenever you go for an interview, like 3 years 4 years of experience also, there can be questions related to primary key, there can be questions related to foreign key, unique key, these kind of concepts. So definitely you should read this, that what is a primary key, what is a foreign key. We are going to discuss this in a further video definitely, or I'll make a like a perfect video that is explaining everything on that. Next is what is indexes. So basically we are also going to see this, that what they and why it is important, why indexes are used. I also take interviews in my companies, so definitely I'll say I use this particular concept, or I ask this particular concept in every interview. So yes, it is my one of the favorite question. Next is constraint. Not null constraint is there, unique constraint is there, check constraint is there, default constraint is there. There are different kinds of constraint also, that also we should know, because every DBMS or any whenever we are storing a data cannot be just uniformly stored here. We have to apply some constraint, we have to apply some conditions here. Okay, so conditions also are applied. So basically we have to do those things. Next thing is data types. There are different kind of data types in a DBMS, that is varchar can be there, it can be int, it can be date, it can be of different data types. It can be string, it can be a boolean, it can be a like what we say, a period column where date time periods are stored, or a timestamp. It can be, okay, it can be of different type. It can be a date time, it can be a date. Okay, so different kind of things are there. So basically it depends on the usage and the requirements. Next thing, that is a SQL query example. If we see a very simple example, that is we need to fetch the 10 rows of data. Just do a select star from a table and limit it to 10. You can do this also, you can do top 10 also. You can do, if there is a condition that I only want the top 10 records, that also you can do. So these are very simple questions, a very fresher level question. Now the questions can be like, if there is a table, I write this particular query here. Now how in backend this particular query is working, like how I am limiting the data, how I am doing the things, these kind of questions can be asked. Okay, so it can be a type of an interview question. Next thing, write a query to fetch the highest salary of an employee. So highest salary if you want, so basically you can do just a select star, or select max of salary from employees, or you can do select star from where salary is equal to max salary, or if you cannot apply like equal to on max salary, definitely, so you can use subquery there. That is also a concept that can be asked in your interviews. Next thing is, how do you join two tables and fetch the common data? So basically we can use inner join in this. Whenever we are talking about the common data, inner join is basically used, and we can compare the table on the basis of one column. That can be a primary key, that can be an index column, it depends. And mostly the columns that are used are type of the column which are basically what we say, like common, the data will be common between these two. That can be, that kind of type of questions can be asked. So basically next thing, that is intermediate. This is one of the very major, and most of the question will be covered here. That is, fetch an employee with a salary greater than 50,000 and hired in the last 2 years. अब हमें क्या करना है? The basically what we need to do, we are having an employee table. Basically that is the first question. We are having an employee table. Now inside that employee table there is a like salary. We need to find those employees whose salary is greater than 50,000 and just hired in last 2 years, that we need to fetch out. So that we can fetch out. How we can fetch out is a very basic thing, that is we can use subqueries, we can use normal functions, that also we can do. So basically here I have used interval, a date sub, that is date subtract between the current date and interval of 2 years. So directly what it will do, this thing, every time a SQL, whenever a SQL query is written, just read it from last to first. So basically you will understand what a query is saying and what kind of result can be generated or fetched basically. So here I am doing an interval of 2 years, means कि हम 2 साल के पीछे का जो भी डेटा है वो फेच आउट कर रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट थिंग व्हाट वी आर डूइंग, दैट इज वी आर डूइंग अ डेट सब. दैट मीन्स वी आर subtracting the date with the current date, whatever is the current date. Suppose you are doing it today, tomorrow, next day, or day after 10 days, something like that. So current date will be fetched and it will subtract 2 years from it. It will be directly subtracting 2 years from it. That will be a very basic thing. Okay. Next thing, I want the second condition. The first condition is met, that in last 2 years I have just taken that thing. Next thing is, that is how we can say the salary is greater than 50,000. Just we can say that if salary is greater than 50,000, that means just give me that particular data. So how to fetch the data? Just do a select star on that employee table. So that means I have got my table, I have got my data, the full employee details, whoever is working from last 2 years and has the salary greater than 50,000. A very simple explanation that I have given. So basically the major function is this part, that is I need to fetch out how last 2 years, and these kind of interviews can be asked into the questions can be asked into interviews. So be ready with these kind of questions. Like there can be scenario based question, like I can give a scenario to you, like I want to fetch only the table data of the 2 years or presently who have just applied or just working for only 8 months, or a fresher who is having only 2 years of experience, 1 year of experience, 5 months of experience, something like that. And just give a scenario, and there you can use this function that is called as interval function, and you can just fetch the data from it. That is very simple thing. Okay, so next thing is write a function to find the duplicate records. Now this is one of the most asked questions, and I'll say that I have made videos on this, short form videos on my Instagram like account, where like I have given all the solutions, all the things, all the shortcuts, everything. So that also you can go and just follow it out. And basically we are just it is on the data domain, data with Anurag. So basically we are posting everything related to data, related to everything that is related to data, related to everything that is related to data domain basically, or DA if you want to become a DA, if you want to become a DE, if you want to become a DS, data scientist, data engineer, or data analyst. Basically you can just fetch refer that. So basically here let's come to the question, that is find the duplicate records in the table. So basically how we can find it? So for a duplicate record, we can, there is a function called as, or whenever you are applying a aggregate function, you cannot do a where clause. Like where clause will never work on an aggregated function like count, sum, max, min, these kind of things. So what you can do, you can use having is a clause that you can use on the aggregated function. So basically I have used that. And next what I am doing here, that is I am selecting the column, the count star. I want to know the count star of those, like I only want the data which is not duplicated. So I have just done a group by on the column, whatever the column it is, I have done a group by, so that it can group the data on the basis of that, and it can give me the having clause, having counts and these counts. So these things I'll just fetch it out from here. So it will be very simple for me, and from there I can fetch out the data from it. Okay, so it is very simple for me like right now. So basically now what you can do is, next question is like write a view and fetch the active employees only. Like I have to write a view. There is a table, already existing table. Now it is a kind of a security level things that can be asked for you in the interviews. So basically what can be asked, that is I am having a table, I have already stored the data. Now I want to apply a security on it, and I just want to see the active employees only. I don't want to show the people that who are who have resigned or who are not active, who are on their notice period. I don't want to show them. So basically how you can do it? So how you can do it is, you can just create a view on it, and you can just say where status is equal to active. There can be a column in it where status is equal to active. That means the employee is active, and it will create a view. And whenever a person want to like query on this view, it will only have those records that is for the employees that are active. Okay, so a very simple thing. Next thing, advanced SQL queries that can be asked in your interview. So basically this gives if you are going for a package of 20 LPA, say 25 LPA, something like that. So these kind of questions will be asked, and definitely you should be very good at these kind of questions also. The next thing is, how do you handle the subqueries in MySQL? Example of fetching the employees with the highest salary and department wise. Now what I have to do, I have to firstly I have to show like how is in SQL the subqueries are used. Next thing, I also want to fetch out, what I want to fetch out beta, I want to fetch out the examples of the highest salary department wise. So basically I want to give a query also, and I want to do that subquery. So basically this part is called as subquery from here to here, because it is written inside a parenthesis. And next thing, that is and I can use this as a result. It will give me a result, and every time whenever you write a subquery inside a query, every time the subquery will be aggregated first, or it will be evaluated first. That means whenever a SQL I will run this command, it will start from this part, like it will start from this part and then it will go to this part. That means it will start the execution from this part. That means I'll get the max salary from here, from the department, whatever the employee department is there, and I'll get whatever the max salary, if equal to this, that means I'll get the like department wise highest salary of that particular employee. That means it will be fetching from here, like from the subquery. Firstly it will run this, then I'll go to this one. So this is how it works. Okay, so like the basic thing. Next thing is how to optimize a slow running queries. Now basically when you are going for a like senior role or intermediate kind of a role where you have 3 years of experience, 4 years of experience, so basically they will focus more on the optimization part, how you can optimize the queries, how you can index the queries, how you can restructure the queries. These kind of questions will be asked. So basically these kind of things can be on the theoretical part, on the practical part. So basically you can just refer it and just see how it works. So basically whenever we are talking about index is a data structure that helps the databases to retrieve. Like it is a kind of a, if you are having a book, their index is there. So basically same kind of a fundamental data structure is created where we are having the reference of all the things, where suppose I have 10 employees. So basically all the 10 data I will be knowing in the index, where if I want to fetch the 10th employee details, so I'll be having from where to fetch that data. So basically these kind of things are used with the indexes. So indexes is very important and common topic where the data retrieval is improved. Like if you want to retrieve the data and if you want to make it faster, you have to use indexes. That is very, very important and very, very simple thing. Next thing is query restructuring. Whenever you are running a query, or if you are running a query that is taking a very long time, so basically you can rewrite the query and improve their efficiency without changing the result. You are not changing the result. Suppose you are using a subquery can be slower, you can use a join there instead. So basically these kind of things are there. And if the query, if you are using a particular evaluation where it is happening like 10 times or 5 times or 6 times in a proper subquery, so you can use a CTE, like common table expression. These kind of things can be used. So basically that is the thing. Next thing is, there are some theoretical SQL questions that can be asked in your interviews. Theoretical questions are very important. It can be like, it can give you an edge basically. That is normalization. Explain different types of normalization, 1F, 2F, 3F, BCNF. These kind of normalization are there. Basically it is used if you are having a duplicate record in the table, like duplicate records are there, so how you can reduplicate the records, deduplicate the record. These kind of things, these concepts are used. What is denormalization, when it is used and its benefits. Next thing is asset properties, like this atomicity, then consistency, isolation, durability. These kind of concepts are there. So basically how it is used, what are the uses of it, how you can give an example of it. Asset property, asset transactions are there. So basically that you can explain. Next thing is the transaction, the save point, the commit, rollback, save point, begin. These kind of things, concepts are there that you can just read out. So there are also some optimization techniques that you should know. That is, you can use the indexes. First thing that I have told in the previous slide, that is indexes is one of the very important topic and very, very efficient thing. That is, if you want to improve the efficiency of your SQL query, you have to use indexes. Very, very normal, very straightforward. Next thing is, if you want to partitioning, if you are having a very large data set, so there you need to create partition. If you are having a great data set where different like cardinality of the column is less, then on that column you can just create you can just create a partition on that, so that the data is distributed properly. And if you query on that particular table, so you can fetch the data. Suppose there is a like partition on a column like this, the data is stored, like it is a physical redistribution of the data, where suppose this is the year of 2, this 3, 4 or 5, like say employee 3, 4, 5. If you want the data of 4, it will not search for all these the 1, 2 and 3. It will go directly to the 4 or directly to the 5 if you are searching for that, and it will fetch the record and it will give you. So that becomes very, very easier and very faster. So partition is also very important. Then caching result and connection. Suppose you are running a query multiple times, or in a day it is getting run like 5 times, 6 times. So basically if your query is wrong, the results are cached. Basically it improves the performance. You don't need to like wait for the evaluation every time. And connection pooling is also there. Basically we are doing a connection pooling. That means the connection is already established. Like in start only we establish the connection, so that if you run a query, it directly gives the result. It improves the like what we say, the performance of the query basically. Next thing is the monitor. Like if you need to monitor the query log, basically every SQL software has a query log where you can just see that there is an execution plan. If you run a query, you can see that where it is taking time, how it is running, what are the steps it following, and you can also see how much time it took. So basically you can just judge from there. If there is a query like this and it gives a plan like this, you can just judge from here that from where it is taking a longer time, because that time is also specified. So basically I can just judge from here from on which step I need to optimize it. It becomes a very specific task, so that I can just focus on that particular time and optimize it. Basically it works like that. Then next thing is additional. There are additional some topics that I'll suggest you, that is difference between a delete, a truncate, drop. It can be asked, and practically you can just explain it. Next thing is how the join works in MySQL, the inner join, the outer join, the full outer join, the left join, the right join, and how it gives the result and all that you can just refer. Then group by and having clauses, I have just explained you the difference between a group by, a where, and a having clause, that you can just read. Then auto increment in MySQL, auto increment also, that you need to like how it works and practically how it affects you, that also you can do. Next thing is the real world SQL use cases. That is the first thing. If you are going for experience basis, if you're having a 2 years or 3 years, 5 years of experience, so there can be a scenario based question that can be asked, and it will judge your performance. So basically what you can do, like it, how to design a databases, and in e-commerce platform, if you want to design a database for an e-commerce platform, how you can do a data modeling, how you will store the base, how you'll design the infrastructure, a basic kind of understanding is required. Then write a query to fetch all the customers who have placed an order in last 30 days. In the same, whatever you have designed the database, in the same they will ask this question, that in last 30 days I want to fetch the records of the customers who have placed the records in last 30 days, that I can fetch out. Next thing is optimize a reporting query, and like reporting queries, basically if you are using a Power BI or a Tableau, so basically you are having the databases or a data analytics or a data warehouse, already the data is stored in that. So basically what you have to do, you have to fetch out basically only the reporting kind of, like I want to only see the top performing product in last month, or the top selling product in the last month, or the top customers who have bought like 5 to 6 times in a month. So basically I can target them more. So that kind of analytics questions can also be asked. Next thing is SQL security and best practices can be asked. So basically the best practice and the SQL security questions can be asked, so that you can just refer it. It can be it can refer to managing the user privileges, like you can just give a grant access, or how to grant access, how to grant access on a table, on a user, how you can grant the privileges on a read, a write, these kind of, or delete permission or raw permission, these kind of privileges how you can assign. Next is avoiding the SQL injection. Now if you are having a database, there can be a SQL injection attack by which the database can be exposed in the market and the data can be exploited. So basically how you can prevent that, basically that can be a type of a question. Next thing is basically how you can securing the best practice, secure the query. Now how to encrypt the sensitive data, basically when you are storing the password and all, there are a hashing algorithm that can be used. By that you cannot see the data, it can be encrypted. It uses different what we say methods by which it can be encrypted, so that can be done. Next thing is final tips that I will give you for the SQL interview. Whenever you are going, don't only focus on the practical aspects, don't only focus on the theoretical aspects. Prepare both very nicely. You go to the platforms where you can practice the problems, explain the queries. Whenever you are writing, suppose I give you a query, I just don't expect that give me a solution. I expect that you explain me the things, how you are approaching it. If you are not going to a solution also, if you are approaching it fine, and if you are giving the steps fine, and you are explaining me the step by step how you will going to approach it and how you are solving it, basically that will be more effective, and that can help you crack the interview much better, and it can give you a better package. That happens basically. I also when I take the interviews, I state directly that don't directly jump to the solution, explain me the each steps how you are doing it, because it also shows that you are not cheating, or you have not just learned it and you have just not memorized it. Basically that also gives you that thing. Next thing is always think about the performance optimization when discussing the queries. Now suppose a query you have written, now basically how you can optimize it, the space complexity, the running time, how you can reduce it. So these kind of the performance, how you can increase it. So these kind of queries, the performance, if it is increased, and you can give the solution like this also, like start with the brute force thing, then optimize it and tell them that if I use this particular concept, if I use CTs, if I use this concept, if I use a window function, the performance can be improved. So that also, and then you practice regularly. And also there are platforms like Lead Code and different kind of platforms, and also you can connect me on my Instagram. There I post like tons of very informative content, and I give away my resources, my plans, whatever I have done in my for preparing for my data engineering role. So basically all things and resumes, and I also collaborate with the people. I go live, I frequently talk to the people who I want to get into data domain, so that you can definitely refer it out. And also if you want a personalized guidance, you can just come go in the description. There is a like one-to-one in the social media links link tree. You can just connect me personally. You can just book a top mate, and we can just talk about the things that you want. It can be personalization, so that can also be there. So this was all about the video. Thank you so much for watching till here, and this was all about a video. Apart from this, I also have a vlog channel where I post content related to my life, my personal life, how I became a data engineer, and these kind of technical aspects are shown on this particular channel, be a programmer. And also in the short form, if you want some informative things or some ideas in very crisp way, I also create content on my Instagram where I post content related to data domain, related to things, and there also we are people about 90k. So definitely that will be very helpful if you join there. So thank you so much for like watching this video, and please like and comment, please share this video to your friend. Definitely it will help them for their next interview 100%. Bye bye.